Oh yeah, now is a great time to take the lead to future-proof your family's finances. By getting life insurance, Policy Genius gives you a smarter way to find and buy it. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the show description to get your free life insurance quotes. See how much you could save. That's policygenius.com. Tell them JRVP sent you. You know, if they ask, those little things like, where did you hear about it? Say JRVP. You can also tell the Athletic Greens that JRVP sent you their way. You do that by going to athleticgreens.com/JRVP. athleticgreens.com/JRVP. That's where you get your AG1. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, better gut health, increased energy, immune support system, if you're sick of the pills, Athletic Greens is giving a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/JRVP. That's athleticgreens.com/JRVP. Check it out. Pre-rolls are over. Football season is over. But JRVP season is just getting started with a baby box, the dumbest lawyer ever, and when keeping it real goes wrong. All coming up in episode 192 of the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project. JRVP.
Junior Vice President.
My pronouns are kiss my ass.
What? Wait, what dumbass said that? Where's that from?
You didn't see the ad this week? That was from. You started way early. Like the theme song's not even
I just
close
couldn't
to being
get
over.
it to it. I thought you can talk over it. Like we can add new elements to the show.
That's true.
You know, just mix it up.
This is how we get more.
I didn't say
listeners,
2
more
pre-rolls
viewers.
right at the beginning. You know.
No, you
Just
did.
changed it
You
up.
did mix it up. That was from Roseanne Barr's comedy special, which aired on Fox News, I believe, this weekend. I just saw the clip on Twitter. I watched like a minute of it because there was someone posted a clip, and it's not great. It's about what you'd expect. I saw a thing. This guy, the Comics Comic, he's a comedy blogger, doing it for a long, long time, had an article that said there's been like 50-some comedy specials released this year already. If you include like YouTube, Netflix, HBO, like there were 2 different HBO specials released this weekend. Mark Maron's special, which is incredible. Check out Mark Maron's new special on HBO, just premiered Saturday night. It's one of the best I've seen all year. That was great, but Roseanne's also premiered, I believe Friday night, and it's a my pronouns are kiss my ass kind of thing. And at one point they cut to the audience, and it's a bunch of like people who love Fox and are at this thing, and they're like trying to enjoy themselves, but it's bad. Like it's not good. And I thought that was very funny. So that was my quote this week. Again, I love Roseanne. Comedy's young man's game.
Didn't I say last week, like, she's not canceled, she could just do stand-up? And then as soon as I saw that clip, I was like, no, she can't.
I mean, listen, Roseanne lives a great life.
Yeah.
She can do whatever she wants, and she does whatever she wants. So when it comes time to like hop on the stage, I don't believe she's like touring the land, getting it together. Like I'm going to fucking Louisville tomorrow morning for 2 shows a night, Thursday through Saturday. I believe there's still tickets available for the Late Show Thursday, the show we added. So get on that if you want to come to my I'm Healthy Again tour. I got Louisville this weekend. Next weekend, Oklahoma City, which I'm excited about. And never been to Oklahoma City. And the weekend after, West Nyack, where I will meet Liz's mother.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, they live nearby. They're going to come.
You feel like you're ready for this stage of the relationship?
I'm fine. She's met my parents. I'm fine meeting her mom. Like I bet she's more nervous about me meeting her mom than I am about meeting her mom. I'm cool with it.
I would be.
I'm fine. But they're going to come. They're going to come to
I didn't
to
introduce you to my parents for a while. I had to make sure, you were a keeper.
I met your parents right away so they could take me to dinner.
That's true.
Right
totally
away.
Made that up.
How was, I'll get into my weekend, but how was your Super Bowl? You were gone. We taped last Monday, and then Greg left on Tuesday and just got back yesterday.
Yeah.
In time for Valentine's Day so we could spend it together.
That's right. Came back with my father-in-law and his drinking buddy.
Watanabe-san.
Yeah.
Does Watanabe-san have any buddies that aren't drinking buddies?
No.
Yeah.
No. He came in for the Super Bowl. He arrived Saturday night, so it was a quick trip, quick turnaround. My week was great. it was a good Super Bowl week. Now that I've done it here and there, it's actually been 3 years since a normal Super Bowl because of the pandemic. And then last year's Super Bowl was like halfway there pandemic wise, but also was in LA. So I was just sleeping at home and it wasn't the normal thing. So it was nice. It was also like the first, just in terms of my experience for the week, like the first one on this new contract. And like we're getting like better, we're in first class and we get cars to the game and getting us from the airport there and back, and just like little things all along the way, and we got better guests too for our show was great. Like the set, like everything was good, and it really did make a difference. And like, wow, this is nice.
Now, I'd heard there were some issues with Phoenix because there was like a huge golf tournament this weekend.
Yes.
That it was like it was impossible to get a hotel.
Yes. That's every Phoenix Super Bowl is like this because there's always that golf tournament. And people are staying in somewhat shady hotels that are like costing like $1,000 a night.
Did you think about giving up your hotel room the way Michael Irvin did for the people?
I did not. I did not give up a hotel room. I actually had an extra hotel room because they mistakenly gave a hotel room in a different hotel because they still had me written down as a New York NFL employee. I don't know how this happened. This has never happened before in 10 years, but they called me all panicked being like, no one's claimed your room. I've been here for 2 days. It was like another room. So I wish I had known that information. I could have taken advantage of it and gotten it for one of my friends. Okay.
I was going to say, how would you take advantage of that? Sounds good. Sounds spicy. I did see, you showed me a picture of Watanabe-san, your father-in-law, at the game. He doesn't look like he's having the time of his life. Is that going on social media anywhere? Will he post it somewhere? Because it's an all-timer. It's like when he dies and is buried, they will put that above his coffin.
I haven't discussed whether it can be put out yet. I want to put it out. It definitely looks like him as a character in Miami Vice, but surrounded by the Chiefs cheerleaders with like incredible lighting and him in his very cool jacket and sunglasses. It's incredible.
It's incredible. It's a tattooable photo. You would definitely want that. But the game was great. You enjoyed being at the game?
I always love the game. I mean, that's the best part of the week. I still am a big football dork. And I did some radio broadcasting for TalkSport over in the UK, which like I love to the point where like I now want to figure out if I can pursue this at all, like in terms of my job, like doing it more, because it's so fun. It helps me like lock into the game in a totally different way, and I think I'm good at it.
So you're calling the game?
I was one of the color guys on TalkSport Radio's broadcast of the game. Yeah, I was like the second analyst. Yeah.
Do you think there's ever there's a world where you and I could call a game together? We could do like our Manning cast. We could do like our Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project cast.
JRVP cast. Junior Vice President
cast. Do you think that could ever happen?
I don't think we're gonna get Super Bowl right off the bat, but I think if we're down to like do maybe Tulane, there's not enough interest. I think we could figure this out.
I would do a preseason game.
Do like a Thursday night. No, like a Thursday night game. I don't know who's gonna pay for this. Is what I guess maybe All Things Comedy. We could figure out something.
Yeah, if there was a way, you and I together, I think would be really fun. Like I don't think we ever discussed. I don't know if we did this last week. The Tony Romo news that's out there, that they had like an intervention for him to try to make him better, which seems like a humiliating leak to get out there. Seems calculated, like they did it to send a message.
Yeah.
He hasn't spoken about it at all, nor should he. But and they're like, oh no, we try to make people better every year, but that he's like just stopped doing any kind of research, just shows up, and they paid him so much goddamn money that why would he change? Which I totally agree with. And I'm not a Tony Romo hater. I don't pay that much attention to it. I remember in the beginning it was like, oh, he can guess the plays. Like, okay, whatever. I'm not there to guess the plays. But I don't mind him on my TV the way some people seem to. I see the social media being like, we hate him now. It's bad. He's not trying, but I don't. None of it bothers me.
I still like him because I think he's good at just broadcasting and he's like excited and the general presence is enjoyable. But he was like a life-changing good analyst the first couple years. Like me and my old friend Chris would always talk about just like the things he saw and said. You would learn a lot, and I think he was really engaged and probably was doing the work, but he also just knew everyone in the league and knew all the schemes, and everything like he was giving was great. And now he's sort of just like doing old like enthusiasm bits, and there is a pretty good reputation or bad reputation he has like around the broadcasting game that like he phones it in. And that's now come out. But that's been like the last couple of years, everyone's just like, yeah, Romo shows up 5 minutes before the game. Like, he doesn't really put in the work, and that does show up a little bit.
Here we go, Jim.
Jim Nance, though, is the one that bothers me more. He doesn't sell Romo. It's almost like, I don't know, like people were getting on Jim's old partner, Phil Simms. I feel like, you got to look at what's consistent over those two. You need your play-by-play guy to help you out.
Shots fired at Jim Nance. I had a good weekend. I watched the game. It's funny. I watched the game by myself for like the first 3 quarters. Liz went to. I went to order a bunch of food. Just me and Liz. I said no to all the parties that I got invited to, which is one party, but I wasn't going to go. This is my first sober Super Bowl. So I have like a 12-pack of Athletic Brewery IPAs. I order chicken wings that take like 3 hours to get to me. I order a sandwich, Jersey Mike's. I'm excited. I'm just sitting there. I'm eating, and I get bored. Liz goes to the Comedy Store where they have like an employee thing. She's like, I'm going to go. I'm going to stay through halftime. She's excited for Rihanna, and she'll be back. And I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm like, I'm not going to drink, but I don't even have alcohol in my house. But I'm like, you know what? I have like some old edibles. I haven't done any marijuana since before I got sick. And even then it was like very sporadic, but I go upstairs and I find this like old container with some like gummies in it. There's just like a few in there. And I'm like, oh, I'll just take these. And I'll be like over it by the time Liz gets home. I should have checked to see how strong they were.
I mean, how many times have you told a version of this story? Not just on the air, but just in our lives the last 20
Probably.
years.
This is why I wasn't a fan of edibles. I wasn't into the edibles, but now I'll never vape again after getting sick. And I do, like smoking marijuana seems like something fucking cavemen do now that I wouldn't even think about doing that. But so when I was like, edibles will be fine. And I got so high that I was just like eating, like I ate so many chicken wings. This sandwich was just like pounding water to get it together before Liz got back. For the first hour of Liz being home, I was in rough shape. Like not feel like I'm way too high. I don't like this kind of shape. And then ordered pizzas. Ate the pizzas. Like I felt so disgusting the next day from everything I ate, but it was what I had to do. So now I think I might be done with weed.
Well, okay. I mean, I support you in whatever you want to do, but you can also just be better at or try to be more responsible at it. But maybe that's not in you.
I don't like the idea. The thing I hate about edibles is the weight. I'm like, let me take more so that it kicks in sooner, kind of thing. That if I take like just 5 or 10 milligrams or whatever it is, I'm like, oh, I didn't do enough. And now it's got to like, if I take more, it's going to take some more time. And I'm like, just take it all in the beginning. And maybe it was like that my tolerance was way down.
Yes.
Or that it was just way stronger than I remembered. Because the package, like the old package didn't have the dosage on it. It was like whatever was on there I threw away. And I was like, this sucks. But I enjoyed watching the game. Thought it was a great game.
Wait, how did it affect your enjoyment of the game though? You're fine.
It was fine. It was one of those like I'm enjoying the game. The commercials are all nonsense to me. It's all just like celebrities in every single one being boring. And then Liz got back, and I like kept forgetting the game was on. She was telling me about something that happened at the party, or like talking about Rihanna's performance, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like it's third down. I've got to pay attention to this, and then I would like go back to her. But I like the game. I'm glad I watched it by myself. I'm happy with the outcome. I enjoyed all the plays. And I thought the end was kind of weak. I think we talked about it a little bit here in the beginning. I don't love the fact that it's like, don't score a touchdown here. Let's kick a field goal. It's just anticlimactic.
The whole thing was anticlimactic. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. But the whole like holding call essentially ends the game. And then both teams are so savvy in terms of their game management that the Eagles try to let them score, but then McKinnon doesn't take the touchdown. Like that's actually, it was good coaching, but it's all incredibly anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you do? There's nothing you can do. It was 55 minutes of like fireworks, like an incredible Super Bowl. So I think more about the experience of like, it was the two best players in the league this year, both playing great in the biggest game, and it was awesome for 55 minutes, just like a bad ending. That stopped it from being a total classic.
I agreed. But I love the game. It was fantastic. Good to see the NFL still making it after Brady disappeared.
After getting rid of RJVP way back in the day, I saw our old friend Tom Brady, the different Tom Brady.
The OG Tom Brady?
I don't know why I'm name checking him here on our podcast.
How's he doing?
He just said he hadn't thought of you in a long time and just laughed and just remembered the good times.
I remember that meeting very well. Trying not to get you fired. My other sporting event this weekend, I went to my one Penguins game of the year. Penguins came to play the Kings. I'm excited. I get great seats. I'm center ice. I'm right where I want to be. Worst experience of my life. Worst experience of my life, because the night before the Penguins go to Anaheim, and I'm talking to a friend of mine, and I'm like, are you going to the game at crypto.com arena? And he's like, no, I'm going to Anaheim, actually. He's like, the tickets are so much cheaper. It's like an hour and a half train ride. It's so much fun. It's so easy. I'm going with a bunch of friends. And I was like, oh, I should have done that. But I had a show Friday night. I did the show called Jam in the Van, and I got to hang out with Brett Goldstein, who was on the show. Have you ever watched?
Yeah, I know who he is.
We'd never met before. We keep missing each other at Largo, but we hit it off like crazy. We were just sitting there talking, me and him, for an hour, and that was great. He's a great dude. We had a lot of fun. And so I missed the Anaheim game. In Anaheim, it's like 6-2 Penguins. Penguins just kicked the shit out of them. Like, it's the best they've played all season. So I'm excited for the Kings game. Kings game, it's Dustin Brown's jersey retirement, and they're unveiling a statue to him. Who's Dustin Brown? Who gives a fuck? He was a good captain for a team that won 2 cups. Was he a guy you build a statue for or retire his jersey? Probably not. But he's kind of encompassing a lot of different players, and they're just kind of putting him in. I get there.
There's a big difference between a jersey and a statue. You definitely retire his jersey.
They do both. I didn't know about the statue. I just knew about the jersey. But Liz and I get to the game. We're all Penguinsed out, and the place is already packed. Like, I walk in, I'm like, oh, we're early, but like, why isn't anyone here? They're already there. Everyone's there watching the ceremony where they're retiring his jersey. We get there at like the end of it. The game doesn't start. It's supposed to start at 7:30. The game doesn't start till like a little after 8 o'clock because this ceremony went so long. They do this whole ceremony. They have to clear the ice. Then they like do the unveiling outside with it like being beamed in. People are giving speeches. Dustin Brown seems like embarrassed. He's like, this is weird that I have this trophy. The trophy's him just holding the cup up, like his greatest achievement ever. And so I feel weird even cheering for the Penguins at this game. It almost feels like I walked into church. And I'm like, I walked into like a Jewish synagogue, and I'm like, what about Jesus? Like, it seems off. And then the Penguins just get wall to wall destroyed. Like, destroyed. Shut out. I believe it was 6-0.
Yeah.
And it was never even close. It was so unenjoyable. I was just like waiting for it to end. And it's like, I'm still there to support my team. I wanted one goal. I always remember you saying like going to a game, like a Red Sox game as a kid in the rain, and not letting your parents leave until you saw something good. Like you got to see a double or something like cool. I was like, I want to see that.
You got a hell of a memory. It was, a rain delay White Sox game, and Ellis Burks, my daughter's namesake, because of him, hit like a solo homer to make it 8-1. It was my favorite player, made it up for everything.
Shout out to your daughter Burks. It was brutal. The best I got to see was Sidney Crosby get kicked out of the game for arguing after getting cross-checked. And then the player who cross-checked him on his way to the penalty box starts talking shit. Crosby goes up, starts talking shit back. Like, what did you say? Ref gives him a penalty. Crosby follows him around, being like, what, I'm getting a penalty for getting cross-checked? He gets tossed. The first time in his career he's gotten tossed from a game. That was like the best I got to see. It sucked. I just couldn't wait to get home. Liz was exhausted.
Damn.
I was exhausted. Still love my Penguins. When I go home for Thanksgiving, I will see a game later on this year in Pittsburgh, hopefully. But it was the worst. And I've been to
Stanley
Kings
Cup
games.
Playoffs to go here.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know if they're even going to make the playoffs. They're bad this year, and I'm going to support them to the end. But it's not good. It's not a great team. The big three, Letang, Crosby, Malkin, they're playing great. But everything else is a garbage fire.
Letang.
Everyone knows Letang. Everyone knows Letang. He had a fucking stroke like 2 months ago. We know him.
I'm only saying that because the last time he came up and I said no one knows him, about 50 Penguins fans that listen to this podcast all told me I'm an idiot, that everyone knows Letang.
I'll tell you this. My pronouns are kiss my ass. That's what I know. Other than that, I'm in the middle of my Valentine's Day swing. I leave at 8:30 in the morning to go to Louisville. Very excited to get back on the road.
You doing anything for Valentine's Day?
Yes. Last year for Valentine's Day, I was like, listen, Liz, we can do whatever. Every day is Valentine's Day when we're together. But I don't want to go out to these restaurants when it's like totally packed. Everything's more expensive. I just don't want to deal with all that shit, getting a reservation. So let's just stay and we'll make dinner or something. And we did. We had a nice night. But the next day she was like, I kind of wanted to be a part of Valentine's Day in some other way. So last night I took her to go see Titanic. They've re-released Titanic. It's one of her favorite movies. We saw it in IMAX 3D, which was cool to see a James Cameron movie, IMAX 3D. I haven't seen it. I remember I saw it when I was 19 years old when it was in theaters. I took my high school girlfriend at the time to see it, and she bawled her eyes out for like the last hour of the movie. And I just laughed at her. And then I remember when we were our sophomore year of college, we lived together with Jamie Osher, and Jamie Osher came home from the store with the double VHS copy of Titanic, and I made fun of him so hard. I was like, that movie sucks, you're a loser. And then that night I came home drunk from the bar, and Jamie and I sat in his couch and watched Titanic together. Like all
Wait,
like
he
3
didn't have
hours
a
of it.
date or anything? He just got it?
No, he
for
just bought it.
himself?
It was the biggest movie in the world. He just bought it as soon as it came out on VHS, and we watched the whole thing. That's the last time I've seen that movie. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. It was a long movie. But tonight we're going to sushi at the restaurant that I took her to on her first date. So that'll be. And it's a great restaurant. And normally, like last time we went like the night before Thanksgiving, or like either the Wednesday before or like the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and we were the only people in the restaurant. And they like, I've been there enough times that they know me. They're like, okay, Anthony, like thanks for coming back. And they're like, what can't you eat? And I'm always like, give me everything. I've never said no to anything at an omakase sushi thing where they'll give you eyeballs or whatever. I went too far. So they're like anything, and they bring us. They don't say like, would you eat this? They're like, they just bring us this, and they're like, whale sperm. But they say it like they have accents, and I'm like, wait, what? And like, it's whale sperm, and it's so gross. But I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. And Liz takes a tiny bite and is like, not for me, no thank you. I just ate the whole thing, put it in my mouth, and then I spent the rest of the meal getting that taste and that consistency out of my mouth. It was absolutely disgusting. The first thing I say when I sit down tonight is, I'm down for anything except whale sperm. No sperm whatsoever. Keep all the sperm in the kitchen where it belongs. I don't want it.
What did it taste like?
Like what you would imagine whale sperm would be. And it was like warm. It was so gross. It was so gross. It was like, imagine like a marshmallow in the microwave, like that kind of consistency, and just like not good. I understand how some people could like it. Like I love sea urchin. Most people hate it. But this was so nasty that even describing it right now is bad. But yeah, I'll go do my.
How do you collect that? What is?
I assume it's not a manual thing. I assume it's like you kill the whale and then you like go in there and scrape out whatever. I assume they're not jerking off whales.
It's not that sheep company or whatever that we talked about 6 months ago, where they're jerking off the sheep or something.
But let me remember 6 months ago on the podcast. Yeah, I don't know.
So who was better to watch Titanic with, Liz or Jamie Osher in our old frat house?
Liz was good, except at one point, like Liz, because we were in this giant IMAX theater. There's not that many people there. We're on the aisle, and we could like talk during the movie and like laugh about certain things. And at one point, I like went to say something, and like I would cheer during the movie, but only parts that like when I think she gets slapped at one point, like her fiance slaps her, and I cheered at that, and Liz thought that was funny. Anytime who's the bad guy in that movie? Billy Zane. I loved Billy Zane in that movie. So whenever Billy Zane did some cool shit, I'd put my arms up, pump my fist at that. And then Liz went to say something to me, and I turned my head, and because of the 3D glasses, like her head like hit the glasses, and it hurt my, like I can still feel it. It's, my nose is still sensitive from where it hit. That for like 5 minutes of the movie, I was just like pulling back tears. That's the closest I came to crying during Titanic. Liz did cry at the end when she was like, I was like, oh, at the dream at the end. And she's like, the dream? You mean when she goes to heaven and everyone's waiting for her? And I was like, okay, relax. It's fine. But I did not think about crying. Did you? You've seen the Titanic?
So Osher was your answer.
No, Liz.
Oh. I don't even remember the dream ending. I saw it once in the theater, and at this point,
when you're like 19, like back when it first came out. And who'd you see it with?
My girlfriend at the time.
Did she cry? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think I cried.
Really?
I cry at anything. I cry at movies. I cry at movies. I don't remember. I think it wasn't my girlfriend though at the time. I think it was someone else.
She's your girlfriend.
I think
now.
it was an ex. I'm also feeling self-conscious that when I talked about the Super Bowl, all I talked about was that we now get like a car service and better service, and that was the whole point.
No, it's a cool thing that you stepped up. You were digging in the ditches, and now you're burning the witches.
It made me think, and I actually have this feeling that it might not last, and that's part of why I'm enjoying it, because like NFL media in general, I don't know what's going to happen with the future. They've been trying to sell it. This is all public information. So that it might all get blown up. We might be like at the end of it. But I did have that feeling of like, God damn, I've been coming to Super Bowls for like 17 years now. I'm like that veteran. And like now I feel very strongly like I just want to keep being that guy, like ride it as long as I can.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the podcast bubble's never going to burst. And now it's time for Did We Get Any Notes?
Did we get any notes? Notes. Did we get any notes? Notes. Did we get any notes?
Yes, I will apologize for last week, and I know never apologize. I'd rather be like, yeah, I take the heat. I understand the criticism. This time I will apologize. I was wrong. Years ago, I used to love reading Roger Ebert's movie reviews. Loved them. Good ones, bad ones, I didn't care. I would like go to his website and search like 1-star reviews. I always loved it. He did a review of Kill Bill Volume 2. And he's like talking about the movie, and he's like, doesn't give to me spoilers, and he's like, yeah, Uma Thurman's character, the bride, whose name is Beatrix Kiddo, by the way, because they like reveal that in the movie. It doesn't have anything to do with anything, but they reveal it. He's like, which is Beatrix Kiddo, by the way. And then the next week, someone's like, why would you put that in the review? Why would you do that? That has no bearing on the review. Like you just like threw a spoiler in there for no reason. And he goes, I don't know what I was thinking. He's like, I have no idea what I was thinking, why I did that. That's how I feel about the spoilers I gave away for Knock at the Cabin last week. And it's too new a movie to have gone so hard. I just hated it so much that no one should see it. And yes, I did say spoilers, but for a movie that's been out for 3 days, I should not have given up the ending. I went too far. I got carried away.
Wasn't it me, though, that guessed the ending? So that's not
really.
You.
I just went, and you could have guessed and been wrong. That would have been fine. We can predict, but I got carried away with a movie that I hated. I was passionate, and I spoiled it for people, and I apologize. And moving forward, like I could have told you what happened in Titanic. I chose not to. For Aaron. And that was, did we get any notes?
Did we get any notes?
I don't know. Where'd you find that even?
That's here. That's on our list.
Are you in the mic?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, now you are. Now you are. And how was your Super Bowl?
It was fine. I just had to like leave during the third quarter to put my daughter to sleep. So I don't know if I got back to the same spot where I left off.
What do you like? You were at a
What
party.
does that mean? You felt like you never made up for the time that you missed?
Well, like I paused it and then my TV went to sleep. And then so I turned it back on and tried to rewind. And I don't know if I missed something.
Okay.
I definitely missed the
Chiefs won.
Chiefs touchdown on defense. I missed that. But, you know.
What did you think of Rihanna's Super Bowl performance?
I fell asleep.
What?
I was watching it and I was like, you know what? I don't know any of the songs. Like there's some that I've heard in the background of things, but I'm not
really.
I'm not like a big Rihanna guy, and I don't like I had heard them before, but I wasn't like, oh yeah. Mostly I was like, oh, this is a Rihanna song, okay. But I loved that she gave minimal effort in a way that like if you're truly a boss, you can do that. She wasn't trying to do too much. That I was like, this is interesting. I do like her like getting up on the platform, putting her life in danger when she's clearly pregnant. Like the reveal at the end of like all this dangerous shit I've been doing, I was pregnant too. I thought was funny. But I understand people were either like way into it more than they should have been, or like harder on it than they should have been.
No one should be hard on that. What are they talking about?
Because there's no special guest. You know, it's like who's going to come out on stage. For a second, I was so high that I was like, maybe Kanye comes out right now. Because
right, everyone
like
thought
two Kanye
that.
songs.
Oh right,
that would have been incredible.
Everyone thought that, but that was kind of a boss move to be like, no, this is my song now too. I mean, I think that was great that she didn't have anyone on. She did the little like stomach thing initially. I was in the stadium, so I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even know that she was pregnant or that she had a bump or whatever. But the fact that she kind of signaled she's pregnant right away, I think the expectations for how much you need to dance should go down right away. It wasn't like people are like, well, she didn't really try hard enough. It's not enough that you're going up and down on like these glass things and then you seem like you're going to fly over, and like just the visuals with the fireworks. That was like more than I've ever seen any Super Bowl.
I don't need her to try
so it
that
doesn't
hard.
make any sense.
I liked it when she
tried hard.
She would do like a sexy dance kind of thing, and the NFL would only shoot her from like above the waist, like she was fucking Elvis or something. That I thought that was funny. Yeah, it was fine. Like I didn't really give a shit, but I didn't hate it either.
I thought it looked amazing. Like I watched it today for the first time on TV. I mean, it looked amazing. It looked amazing there, but it looked even better just like that shot of her when they're panning back. I mean, she's part of all that, all the planning. So you got to give her credit for
it was great.
Trying hard there. And I like that she played like just like a medley of like greatest hits. I knew almost all the songs. I was happy. That was up there as my favorite halftime shows I've seen.
I loved her putting on the makeup for a second. I thought that was a boss move. Like it was cool. Who's your favorite Super Bowl halftime show of all time?
I mean, just that I personally enjoyed at the time. It was last year, Dr. Dre.
That was great.
Beyonce would have been the other one, and now Rihanna of the ones I've seen.
Aaron, you want to throw in here?
Prince.
Prince. This is exactly right. Prince is the best one of all time by a mile. Last year was so enjoyable. It's definitely great. Beyonce was cool, but Prince was the greatest. The greatest, yes.
So there is like one that I think you're probably not mentioning just because everyone recognizes it as like the best. Black Eyed Peas.
I've heard. I don't remember. I don't think I even watched the Black Eyed Peas one. Back in the day, you used to change the channel during the halftime show and go to like a different network. Would have like counter programming.
But this is before like there was any breakup or anything. Fergie's there. Like this is peak Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, Fergie was brutal. I always liked when MIA came out during Madonna's thing and gave the finger, and the NFL tried to garnish her salary for the rest of her career. I thought that was great. And now it's time for a little place we like to take it down to that recognizes Prince as the greatest Super Bowl halftime show of all time. Without question, it's Email Corner.
Email corner. Emails are a thing. Email corner. Emails. It's email corner.
That's my Rihanna. You can't see below my rib cage.
People will complain about anything if they're complaining about that. Give me a break. Question for Anthony. This is from Scott Bell. Do you have a system for when it comes to naming people in your jokes? In Fire in the Maternity Ward, your "Oh yeah, Debbie" joke, is that a wink nod to Greg's mom or just a random name that came to your head in the joke writing process, something that you think phonetically fits? There's a second part related to this, but I'll let you answer that part.
Debbie, it was just the name Debbie was perfect for that. Oh yeah, Debbie. Like the hard D, hard B. I.e., like I tried different names, but Debbie was the best name. I forgot that was your mom's name until like much later on. But yeah, that was not a shout out. That was just strictly Debbie worked perfectly. I could not find a better name to use.
Okay, so do you have like a system? He also asked, do you have friends, family who specifically request to be named or ask not to be named? Do you honor these requests? Any funny stories of folks who got really mad at being named in an act over the years that are worth sharing?
No one gets mad, but I have had, I've had uncles that have been like huge fans that I would be like, okay, like I'm gonna give my Uncle Tom a shout, I'm gonna give my Uncle John a shout, and then they're never like thanks, and they never like acknowledge the shout out. That I gotta think they're not thrilled with being a child molester or racist. But it's like I don't have that many jokes where I actually need a name.
Maybe they're not huge fans. Maybe they never saw it.
No, they're aware. They're aware for sure. But I'd never get a thank you from there's an Uncle John and Uncle Tom I've put in a couple different bits. Sometimes I'll throw in, like if I have like, oh, my cousin, and I don't have a name for it. If I'm in Pittsburgh and my family's there, I'll make it one of my actual cousins, and I'll hear a laugh from that section. Not from the person individually, but when it gets to the special, there's very few names that I'll have. I think Jessica in the abortion story was like an alias for the actual person. I just thought Jessica would work as an alias, but there wasn't any comedic value to that name. But usually it's like if it's a family member that I've got a name, it just sounds better like my Uncle Tom versus my uncle. Then I make it one of my actual uncles who's a fan, but no one really likes it. Yeah,
your girlfriend in college, I don't know if she'd want her name. I feel like she had mixed feelings about, you always saying my girlfriend. I don't know if you said her name, but you did use one real story, the fire story.
Yeah, no, she loved all of that. Catherine would be fine with being named. We still get in touch on her birthdays and say hello. But she was not annoyed with me saying my girlfriend in jokes because she knew it was all fake. She would get annoyed at people meeting her. Like when we lived together in New York, people come and be like, "Oh, so you're the girlfriend?" And she thought it was offensive, but it was like, no, they just watched my act. And I keep saying my girlfriend. That's what they're saying. It's not like your only value is the girlfriend. But she wasn't annoyed that I had jokes about her.
You should put me in there.
Well,
you should throw a Greg in there just as a wink to the JRVP listeners out there.
It's true.
My friend Greg.
I don't need any more winks to the JRVP listeners during the show. People just yell shit out. I have had people say like, "Don't talk about this in your act. But just do me a favor." And it's like, that's not what I do. I don't have like real true stories about this whatever banal shit you think I'm going to throw you under the bus for. But no one's ever like, thanks, that was great. I love the shout out.
All right, next question is from Debbie Breedenbach. formerly Debbie Tenza. More on that in a second. Hi, Anthony and Greg. I'm a longtime listener and fan of the show, as well as one of Greg's high school pals, but don't hold that against me. Couple questions for you, and I'll get to this high school pals part.
You don't have to read the whole email. You could just, you could pick and choose.
I could skip ahead?
Yeah.
Well, the questions are, which musical artist band has had the biggest impact on your life?
I mean, I'm gonna have, my first instinct is to say White Stripes, because that was like I discovered the White Stripes as I was becoming a comic, and I was just like, oh, I want to be like the Jack White of stand-up, kind of like that's my goal is like I'm gonna keep it minimalist, but I'm gonna try to go hard as fuck and just be so good at it that it's undeniable. That I've seen the White Stripes more than I've probably seen any other band. And I know they've broken up a long time ago. I haven't seen Jack White solo yet, or Dead Weather, or any of his other bands, but I've seen the White Stripes many, many times. And they just hit me at the right place at the right time and had enough like seminal albums for me. White Blood Cells, Elephant, and then going back to their old catalog. I just love that as an artist. They meant the most to me as an artist.
Yeah, you went hard at the time.
How about you?
I'd probably go like, I got Pavement. I always remember this. And I got Pavement, Crooked Rain, and Liz Phair's Exile in Guyville like on the same Christmas or the same birthday. And those two twin CDs had a big impact on me. But I don't know what that impact is other than just like I love those albums. And it's making a truism of what people say that like you kind of just end up having the biggest impact from like the bands you loved when you were 14 or 15, which is exactly when that was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a timing thing.
A little bit. I mean, you went hard on Pavement and Liz Phair for sure. And I wasn't that into the music as when I was like younger. I listened to the same shit as everyone else. The White Stripes just like grabbed me and did not let go until they broke up.
There are more questions here. Do you want them all?
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather lose your teeth or lose a day of your life every time you kiss someone you love?
Lose a day of my life every time I kiss someone I love. I'm not trying to live that. Like at the end, those days are bad.
You don't get dentures, by the way.
Yeah, at the end, those days are bad. I'd rather have my teeth and lose days at the end. I'm fine with that. If it was like lose one of your molars or lose a day of your life every time you kiss someone you love, it's fine.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because I want to keep all those days. I'm feeling those days. You know, you say that, but when you get to the end, you're gonna be like, I wish I had some more days.
Not if you do it right. Not
That's
if your
what people
body's
say.
breaking down, you're mentally
Sure.
going away. You're like in your 90s, all your friends are dead. You're like, I wish I had my teeth.
My initial thought was like, you can do other things than kiss. You can like express affection and have loving relationships with all your people without necessarily kissing. So that's cool, but no teeth also like really impacts eating, and I do love eating. I guess I gotta take the day of the life. And
I would keep kissing whoever I want. I would just stop loving people.
Would you rather skip everywhere instead of walking, running, or sing instead of speaking? You have to do one permanently. If that's easy, I would skip.
I would also skip. No, I wouldn't skip. I would never skip, no matter what. Although skipping is fun, if I had to do it, I wouldn't mind. But I think it would be so fun to have to sing instead of talking. I couldn't wait to get pulled over by the cops. And this podcast would lose all its listeners and sponsors too.
But would you be able to tell people it was a bit?
It's not a bit, you have to do it. I would wear a t-shirt that explained everything, and then I'd kiss those people because they wouldn't love me. Well, Aaron, we on key?
Sort of.
Ooh.
But can you like rap? Because that would be badass. You just rap.
Not the way I rap. People are like, go back to singing, bro. Go back to singing. To the social media team that Greg and I pay money to, do not use this as the clip. Do not use this as the clip.
You can use it. You can use it. You can use it.
It's too sexual.
It's not even.
It's too sexual.
The reason. Well, this is crazy because I didn't pick out this email anyways. From my quote high school pal Debbie. Parentheses Tenza Breedenbach, her married name. She puts high school pal. That was my first girlfriend. I was a freshman and she was a junior, and then we ran it back sophomore and senior years. There was all sorts of roller coasters.
What, you dated this girl?
That's what I'm saying. And she says high school pals. I take offense to that. I mean, it was a whole messy thing. My brother and her sister at one point dated, and they were like 5 years older. And then we dated. You know, she was an older woman. I was a freshman. She was a junior.
She groomed you.
I'm not going to go that far. And you know, I have a lot of love for Deb. But you know, it was a roller coaster through there. And for her to go high school pals, I don't know. I think she did that just to jab me there.
How old were you before you started dating women who weren't named after your mom? Did you feel like branching out? And now, I mean, this is crazy. It's funny to think of exes listening to the podcast. There's no way Catherine listens to this. I can't imagine any of my exes at any point listen to this podcast. If you do, please email us with your questions. We'll talk about singing. We'll sing for you.
I met up with a...
How far did you guys go in your relationship? Second base? You're a freshman?
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about it in this podcast.
Did you touch the top?
We were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Yeah.
We were in high school.
Yeah, but she's older.
And like I said, we ran it back a second time around too when I was a sophomore. So there was time spent.
Did you lose your virginity?
I'm not good. No, I did not.
Okay. Third base.
And I saw my high school, my more long-term high school ex-girlfriend, Jamie, in Phoenix for the Super Bowl. We saw each other for the first time in 17 years.
Did she live there?
We got a coffee. She lives there. Yeah. And,
oh wow.
And just want to say what's up. And she doesn't listen to the podcast anymore either, but I know she did at one time.
Is she married with kids?
No.
No. She's still holding that hope?
Divorced. No.
Oh, she's divorced. Okay.
She's doing great. It was great to see her. And great to hear from Debbie. Even if she called me a high school pal. This was
my high school girlfriend that I dated like my senior year of high school. She is not married with kids, at least one kid. And like they came to a show when I was performing. She lives in Denver, and she and her brought her husband to a show. And I just remember like I did 6 shows that weekend. They were all great except for this one. This was like the clusterfuck where it was like hecklers. I'm dealing with that. And I'm just like so annoyed that I know someone who's there at the show. And then afterwards, they come back to my hotel, and we just have drinks at the bar. And I just remember being so drunk already. I just done like 3 shows, and then sitting there just like wanting to go to bed, but having to like try to entertain. And the two of them just looking at me, like they've got a kid at home. They finally got a babysitter, and they're just looking at me like, "Are you gonna survive the night or like your life?" And I've never heard from them ever again. That it was like this was too much. This was like, and some high school friends, like one of my friends from Tulane, I'm going to see in Louisville this weekend. Katie Harold is going to come hang out, which I don't encourage, but okay. But yeah, the high school.
What if she hears this before you see her?
Hey, Katie.
Adrian asks, hey, Miss Kim, Anthony, and Greg. In a recent interview with Pat McAfee, and Miss Kim, of course, Anthony's assistant who checks all the emails. In a recent interview with Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers said he's going to go on isolation retreat to contemplate life and his future in the NFL. This includes 4 nights in complete darkness. You're not locked in, and you can leave at any time. Someone is there to open a chute to drop food to you. Anthony and Greg, would you do this? All the love from Australia. Shout out to our Australian listeners.
Good day. Would you do it? You go first.
Hell yeah. I heard this, and he started saying that you get some of the effects of like what he calls DMT or whatever, essentially like hallucinations or what you would get on ayahuasca or some drugs, just by being in this room. And I thought, like, I would try that.
I don't care about the effects, the DMT of it all.
I mean, not to get the DMT necessarily, but the fact that you can leave at any time. You're not like locked in there. If you're not digging it, you can just go home. There's no rules to it. And so it's like, yeah, I would try anything once to see how it goes.
The one thing I thought was weird when he described it was it's an undisclosed location. Like, you could do this shit anywhere. Anywhere that someone would like bring you food and it's a dark place and you could leave. Like the fact that it's not like, hey, here's where you go to do this. It sounds shady to me. Like it was like one of his like hippie friends was like, I do this thing, like come do it. That's weird. But I think these are cool. Like I've never done a silent retreat or I never heard of this, the darkness retreat, but I would absolutely do either one. I would love to. If I had the time and I was just like, yeah, let's go try it out. Going back to ex-girlfriends, Catherine. My college girlfriend went to Thailand years and years ago and was telling about it. And she and one of her friends went to a silent retreat where it was like for like a week or 2 weeks you couldn't talk. You had to do these like different things, and you was like very meditative. And she said like halfway through, she was just like, "Fuck this," and went and like found like the headmaster, or whatever, and was like, "I'm leaving." And they talked to her for a little bit to make sure, and she was like, okay. Told her friend, like, gave her friend a note, and then just peaced out. And had such a great time because it was like part of her experience of the meditation was saying, fuck this, and leaving. And I think that's just as powerful. You don't lose anything. You're just like, I'm making my own decisions. That to go, even if you went for like a day, and then we're like, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I think that would be fun. Conquering just like the boredom of being there and just saying, I'm out of here. Absolutely. If you couldn't leave, fuck yourself. I'm not doing that. But the fact that you can leave, I think it's just as valuable to leave as to, and I would never do ayahuasca. I have no interest in it, but I would absolutely do a darkness retreat.
Yeah, like that is what they use to torture people. So like you're a little, it's a little concerning that it would be detrimental, or you would just kind of start losing it quicker than you'd expect. But I guess I'd like to think that wouldn't happen to me, and that actually there'd be something to take from it. 4 days is a long time, though. I'm
able to meditate. I think losing your space and your sense of time would be the toughest part. Like that's I can't deal with time even now, like with the lights on. But I read about there's a room that because of the acoustics and like the way they soundproof it, it's the most quiet space on the planet Earth. And the rumor was you couldn't last more than an hour there. There was a writer from the New York Times who went and did it for like 3 hours just to like break the record of it. It's like you get bored. There's no reason to keep doing it after a while. That like you go in, you get your peace. But that's the point
of the 4 days is to push past that.
Do you think he is actually using this to figure out if he wants to keep playing football?
I think that's part of it.
I don't. I think he's just doing it. Like if you found out later on that he was like, yeah, I did this darkness retreat and decided to play or not play. Okay, announcing it before you go is weak. Is a strange move.
Well, plus he didn't go then. Like he was on McAfee again this week.
He said he's going after the Super Bowl, so maybe I think I saw a thing that he started it today. But yeah, I'm not trying to do what Aaron Rodgers does. But yeah, I like that the writer from the New York Times went and actually did it, had the experience in the quiet room, was like, it was whatever. But you can do it for as long as you need to.
Well, if you want to get your question on the show, you can email us at JRVP, Junior Vice President at gmail.com. Miss Kim, we'll see you there. And if you were an ex-girlfriend, just own it in the email.
No, she's right to be ashamed, I think. And that was Email Corner.
And that was Email Corner. Diamonds around the world unite. Diamonds around the world unite.
Aaron, were you surprised at how good my voice is?
No, I believe in you.
Were you proud?
Oh yeah, beaming.
Okay. Thank you.
Beaming right over.
I'm ashamed of everything that happened in that segment. You did great. But I make a living at home of just coming up with songs off the top of my head for my kids. They like it, like on anything. And I just I had nothing. I froze.
Maybe I should come over and sing them some real stuff. And now it's time for ad copy.
Policy
sing it all. Sing
Genius.
It all. Redeem yourself.
Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry. No, I mean, the problem is I was
grooving.
The voice is terrible, clearly, but I'm good at, I can come up with some new words off the top of my head, but I got to read some required statements here.
Everyone sounds bad. Yeah, but you can sing them. You can.
Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price.
Lowest price.
Are you gonna die? Yes.
That's true.
Is your family in trouble? Not if you get Policy Genius.
Ooh, never thought of that before. We're young.
You might have coverage through work. It's not enough.
Never enough.
Employer-sponsored life insurance may not be enough. Protection for your family's needs.
Protect yourself.
Now is a great time to take the lead to future-proof your family's finances by getting life insurance. And Policy Genius gives you a smarter way to find and buy it. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $39 for more than or for $2 million in coverage. Some options offer coverage in as little as a week and make unnecessary medical exams a thing of the past. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head now to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com.
That looked like fun. I gotta do it. Athletic Greens. Drink it. Put it in the thing and drink it. One scoop or one packet. It doesn't matter. You got the travel packet. Get all your vitamins. AG1. 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 I take AG1 in the morning. Before I eat anything or drink anything else. It feels so good. It feels so good. My gut health is so good. I don't want to take a vitamin pill. I just want to drink Athletic Greens because I'm an Athletic Green chill. Athletic Greens. You know it's green because the powder is green and the liquid is green. You'll drink it down. Keep it green. Anti-woke. Athletic Greens is anti-woke, baby. I'm always looking for life hacks, which is why I've come to love and trust AG1 by Athletic Greens, baby. Every scoop is packed. 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients of the highest quality. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase, baby. Go to athleticgreens/JRVP. That's athleticgreens.com/JRVP. Check it out. And that was ad copy. There's your fucking social media. That was amazing. That was if you're not watching us on the YouTube, you don't get to see the lighters in the air. You don't see the people filming us with their cell phones from afar. There's your Super Bowl halftime show.
If you're not an advertiser and you're looking at this show and thinking, ooh, should we spend millions of dollars on the Super Bowl or should we spend millions of dollars to have the guy sing it? What are you doing with your life?
We sang it so we can keep our teeth and walk normal when we go places. We made the choice. We make the hard choices that Greg's high school girlfriend couldn't make.
I'm right. Get on that and make that a song. I know you can do it.
That was good. That off the top of my head. Off the top of my head. Let's get to headlines.
Let's get the headlines. Let's get the headlines. Let's get the headlines.
All right, we like the headlines so much this week, we have an extra one.
Is your voice okay?
We just couldn't.
Did you blow it up?
Yeah, I blew it out. We liked them so much, we just couldn't cancel one. And I'm going to start the first one by asking like a question, just hypothetical. What is the appropriate reaction to finding your boyfriend having sex with your grandmother?
Run him over a couple times?
Nope.
Run him over 25 times?
Nope, not enough.
Run him over 40 times?
That's too much.
39 times.
39 times is perfect. If you answered, take out your SUV and then run over your husband 39 times back and forth, 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 and then back and forth 32 more times than that, then you came up with the exact same reaction as the 28-year-old Samantha Warrens in Virginia last month.
So back and forth was one.
I don't know. I had questions about that. Maybe that's two.
39 is very specific. I refuse to believe they were like, "Oh, you ran your husband over. How many times?" You know, we can check the car. We can figure it out. Or did they have to did he die?
He is somehow alive. There were a lot of parts of the story I kept looking deeper to make sure it's real, and it seems by all accounts real. But like, how did they count the 39? He did live. He suffered at least 57 bone fractures, including a severe skull fracture. How do you even live off of that? And 9 broken ribs, as well as other severe injuries. But he did live. He was in rough shape, though.
This is all bonkers. This is all bonkers.
She's still getting tried for attempted murder, by the way. It doesn't matter that he lived.
I don't think she should be tried for anything. I think they should throw that grandma in jail. Horny grandma. This is a gots-to-go situation. You walk in, this wasn't obviously his first offense in the cheating category because, she wasn't that surprised. She was angry, but not surprised. It wasn't like, drop everything, what's going on here? I refuse to believe my husband would have sex with my grandma. Not an older lady, is her grandma. That's a bad grandma, first of all. That's a lonely, sad grandma, who I bet was a smoke show back in the day, that she's trying to recapture her youth.
It's a 28-year-old woman, so maybe the grandma's on the young side and is like 70.
Maybe. But even 70-year-old Sophia Loren was not like I'm going to cheat my wife in my own home. They didn't go somewhere. This was in this. They knew there was a possibility they would get caught while they were doing it. I think she caught him in the middle of the day. When did she come home?
Yeah, she came home from work early. It was in the afternoon. And according to, this is where I start wondering about this story. According to the story, that she caught her grandmother and her husband naked together in a 69 position.
Love that they put that in the article. Love it. So it wasn't sex. He was saving something for the missus. Which is respectful, I think. I don't know why you're not taking it out on your grandma as opposed to your husband.
I think that's worse. I think finding them in that position is actually
it's way worse.
More hurtful than just a more conventional setup.
Yeah.
Because he's not doing that for her, not for his wife. He only does it for Grams.
Maybe he's shy about it. He's trying it out on the grandma first, and then he's going to work down to the mom, and then go down to his wife. And, everything about this is disgusting.
Because it is gross. You kind of got a butt right in your face, and there's a lot that you have to really.
I don't know if you do this right. I don't know if you're doing it right. If there's a butt in your face.
People said when they found her, or the police said when they first found her. She was still yelling at her husband, who was lifeless on the ground.
Yeah, she's right to. She's right to. I heard the doctors, it took him an hour just to get the gray hairs off his face. I don't understand. And what jury's going to convict this woman? It's okay. Tell us more about it. When's the movie coming out? That's what I want to know. And show me a picture of the grandma. Do we have a picture of the grandma?
No, there are no pictures.
Is there a picture of the husband and wife?
I don't have any.
I would love to see that. I want to know what everyone looks like. It's insane. If you're going to sleep with your wife's grandmother, you got to do it outside the house. You got a car. Do it in the car. And if your wife catches you, let her leave. Why is he chasing after her, trying to explain the situation?
Okay, I do have a picture for you just to look at. We don't have it on the screen.
Okay.
That's the 28-year-old. Could be a good-looking woman, but also probably has lived a little hard for 28.
Sure, but she's a looker. I give her that. I bet her grandma was hot.
Okay, and here's the grandma. Oh, no, wait. I think that's a different lady. That's a different lady.
Yeah,
I don't think we have the grandma.
No. Do we have the husband?
Plus, because, she would be naked and in the 69 position. You can't just put that out on the
I can imagine it. I want to know what the grandma looks like for sure. And if you were the husband, wouldn't you want to die? I would think the first couple times she runs over you, I would be trying to position myself so the wheel would runs over my face. I'd want to die. But it's his fault. I don't think she should be charged at all. If your wife catches you with her grandmother in a 69 position, let her go. Let her go blow off some steam. Maybe he's afraid she's going after his grandpa, trying to get revenge. That's the only thing I can think of that he was trying to come out and salvage the marriage. It's over.
I wouldn't want to die, but I would want to die after getting run over 12 times. Can you imagine how painful that would be? I just would want it to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. I wonder if the grandma came out to comfort him afterwards. It'll be okay, babe. We'll be back to normal in no time. There's nothing about the story I don't want to know. We don't know that much. I want to know more. When did this happen?
3 weeks ago.
Oh, I want updates. JRVP listeners and watchers and viewers, once you're done listening to me saying that on repeat, because I nailed it. Okay, I crushed it. Simon Cowell ain't got shit on me. Do your research. Email us at JRVP Junior Vice President at gmail.com. And with any updates on this story, I want to know. I want boots on the ground looking for these people. Go knock on their neighbor's door and tell me what they say. Let's hear headline number 2.
A lawyer in Brazil died last
what?
week. A lawyer in Brazil died last week after his hidden gun accidentally went off during an MRI scan. So he was told to remove all metal objects before entering the scanning room. But he kept the gun in his waistband a secret, and the magnetic field from the MRI scanner pulled the lawyer's weapon from his waistband, went off, shot him in the tummy, dead.
He deserves to die. I've never had an MRI before. Have you ever had an MRI?
No.
Aaron, MRI?
Yeah, several.
Yeah? And you were very careful about taking all the metal off your body. You took out your piercings, took off your wedding ring, took off your...
Wedding piercing.
Okay. Yeah, you got to get rid of all that stuff. I've never done one, but I know that you don't fuck around with that. You're not like, well, this piercing's hard to take out. You take it all off. Well, this bracelet means a lot to me. You take it off before you get in the MRI. The idea of, I want to know, was he afraid of something? Was one of the doctors looking at him funny? He's like, nice try, buddy. Better to be caught with one than caught without one. Or was he afraid? Was it a Plexico burst situation? Was he like, I can't let them know I have the gun, so I'm just going to go in there. Why do they let you go in with anything but like a hospital gown? You know, they don't let you go in your clothes as long as the metal's off.
Yeah, it's a full gown situation.
Yeah. So he would just like, taped it to his thigh?
It said it was his waistband.
I guess he had boxes.
They have it on video, so they have proof that they warned him and gave him the normal precautions and warnings that, please, you cannot enter this room with any metal objects, yada yada. He is a pro-gun enthusiast. He has a lot of followers on TikTok and Instagram for his pro-gun content. So I don't know if he just felt like that's his brand. He's got to keep his gun on him at all times.
Maybe he knew it was going to be bad news from the MRI, and he was like, I'm going to be ready. When pro-gun people who are so pro-gun, they bring guns places they shouldn't, and they get shot by their own gun, always funny. Your dog shoots you with your gun, it's always funny. Always. I've never heard of a cat shooting someone with a gun. I would laugh at that. But this guy, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I can't believe it didn't happen in America.
Right. I don't want to be happy that he died. And a lot of people have made this point before. But there is something about, tough guys who talk about how they need their guns for safety always keep killing themselves and their loved ones by mistake.
He didn't put the safety on the gun before. And the MRI tube is small. No one's coming for you in there.
Well, I think there's such a thing where you just walk into a room and they scan you while you're standing up. No. Is that possible? No?
No.
I don't know. Well, because I was trying to imagine how this happened. Okay, he gets in the tube and it's somehow the metal thing gets sucked out. I mean, it's very cinematic, if nothing else.
Look, I do remember a clip from Terminator Genesis where there's an MRI involved and maybe it was a standing thing. I don't know. I don't remember the movie that well. It's not a very good movie. I will not spoil it for you here. Go see it and tell me what happens in the MRI thing. But this is so dumb that you can't even be sad. Do you have a secret funeral at night where no one comes and they just throw your body into something and then shoot guns at it? That's what I would do. Be buried under the cover of night because nobody wants to go to that funeral and just giggle their way through it. It's a silly way to die.
You don't want to die silly.
You don't want to die silly. But when it's your own, taking a gun into an MRI, I do not feel bad for you. I feel bad for the guy who's got to clean that shit up. MRI machines are expensive. I hope they build them.
Yeah, he's Brazilian. Like I said, a lot of followers, relatively 12,000 on TikTok and Instagram. Do you unfollow him at this point? He was a pro-gun enthusiast, and it's just sort of bad vibes to remember that as a follower.
Maybe if his motto was safety last, then it's okay, this guy followed through. This guy's our leader now. I didn't know they had gun nuts in Brazil. I thought they just gave them to kids.
Okay, when I do the point now, I'm going to do it to the camera. Because when I point over to Aaron, it's like off camera. He can't even see it, and I'm too short.
Because Aaron is just laser focused on the monitor.
So
And he sees everything.
isn't he? I don't know.
For the
Aaron
most
is.
part.
I think he is watching the monitor. It's a good reason also to check us out on YouTube. Watch the YouTube show just to see that point.
Subscribe. And Aaron, I think our numbers. I think getting people to subscribe was a good thing. I think people realize the value of the YouTube. I'm sorry there's not a camera on Aaron, so you can't see him trying to get to the bottom of a fucking Pringles can over there. But I assume that's what he's doing.
Damn.
No, I was reading the article for that last
Another
story.
big man joke. You just are ruthless.
I'm ruthless.
A Russian woman living in New York City has been found guilty of attempting to murder her doppelganger in an identity theft plot, including a poisoned piece of cheesecake. Do you want me to give you more details or stop there?
This is all I know. I please more details because I would think I didn't. When I heard Russian woman, I assumed this happened in Russia.
No.
New York City, just as good. It's like Russia Junior, as I like to call it. I would think though, if you meet someone who looks just like you as your doppelganger, be afraid of them. Nothing good can ever come out of that. That the idea of being like, I'm tired of my life, I need to change my identity. This is the best way to do it. This is like what Don Draper pulled in the Korean War.
So her name was Victoria Nasrova, and she tried to kill her beautician named Olga Svitek. I don't know how to say it. Tsvyk.
That's right.
In 2016 by poisoning her. So they did look alike. Victoria, the murderer, was 12 years older, but so it was like a younger, slightly better version of her. And she went over to this woman's house, who she knew personally. She came home from the hospital, and found that this woman was there. She had cheesecake for her. She gave her like a slice of cheesecake. They had cheesecake together. Immediately started puking and like lost consciousness. But before she lost consciousness, she saw the other woman like going around her house like taking shit while she's just like puking on the floor. Eventually someone finds her, takes her to the hospital. She survives, the poison. And when she eventually comes from the hospital, like everything from her apartment is gone, and she's found out that like Nasrova basically tried to steal her life, like using her passport, using all this information for different things.
So the problem with her plan was not following through. If she had just like waited till she died, like strangled her once she's like puked herself out, she would have pulled this off. She's now a beautician. She's got the passport. She's got the IDs. It sounds like a perfect plan. I think the problem is letting someone into your home who looks like you and eating something they gave you.
I think, they knew each other through, I don't know. I don't know how they knew each other, but yeah, she had a Ukrainian passport, the beautician, and was found unconscious all the way in the next day. So I guess she lost consciousness fairly soon from the poisoned cheesecake. And yeah, the woman just thought that she was gonna die, left her there. Classic movie scenario there.
Yeah, I mean she lost her will to finish the job. You got to put two in the head in that situation.
Damn.
Well,
she tried to set it up like she was taking her whole life. So when she woke up, though, they found her in lingerie and pills scattered around the floor. So she tried to set it up to make it look like it was a suicide.
That's smart. I mean, if you find me in lingerie, pills scattered everywhere, I'm just having a good time. I went a little too hard that night. But the chances of an older Russian woman finding someone who looks just like her, almost impossible. They all look so different and unique that you got to take it. How bad was her life? Was it debt? Was it a financial thing, or was it like I like your name better?
I think she's just into it. She had a notice in Russia from Interpol for being accused for killing a neighbor and stealing her life savings. She also was the subject of a 48 Hours episode on CBS. She's a former dominatrix who has also been accused of drugging and robbing men that she met on dating websites. That was what the 48 Hours episode was about. So this, she gets a lot done.
Yeah. I mean, if she's got a granddaughter, she's fucking her husband.
Roll it.
Good one.
So the state of Kentucky came up with a wild idea that I had to research to make sure it was real. It's real. The baby box is real.
Baby box has always been real. I knew about this. Obviously.
Yeah, it's actually in multiple states, so it's not even Kentucky. Not just Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to finish the story?
Sure. Governor Andy Beshear signed a law 2021, at least for Kentucky, that allows the use of baby boxes for children less than 30 days old. Baby boxes are at locations like fire stations, hospitals, and police stations, and they allow a mother to anonymously give up a baby that they cannot care for. It also requires equipping the boxes with a notification system that alerts the first responders that are on site that a child has been placed inside the box. And this week, the first ever baby, at least in Kentucky, was dropped at a baby box.
Show me the box. You got the picture of the box?
Okay, we have a picture of the box. You can
That's
watch it
the
on
box?
YouTube. Well, that's that's a safe haven.
It's in a building. I would think that's not just a sign. That's hinges. You open that up.
Yeah, and you put the baby inside.
I assumed like a mailbox sort of thing. Like a freestanding mailbox, you put it in, people are alerted. It's got maybe a heater on it.
It's just as crazy to walk by it and see a sign that says "Safe Haven Baby Box Drop Off." I can't. It's all your dreams coming true, Anthony.
No, listen. I always knew you could do it out at a fire station. Leave it outside because you don't want to be seen.
But that wasn't like formalized by law or anything.
No,
That
it
just
was
something people did.
It was like it was legal to do, and I assume it was nationwide, not just like per state. But there was a state, I forget which state this was. It was like a Dakota or some shit, where they were like, you can drop off any minor at like the hospital, and you're no longer legally responsible for this. Or maybe I think it was a police station. I believe it was a hospital, and then someone dropped off like a 16-year-old. And they would change the law. They were like, we can't deal with this. And they were like, no, this kid's impossible. I'm dropping him off. I'm washing my hands of it. And it was legal at the time, so they changed that. But to have the balls to leave a baby in the official box. I get a fire station. Put a hood on, go up, leave it outside at night, call later and be like, there's a baby there. But they're on camera. It's anonymous, but you are for sure on camera. They can absolutely find you.
Yeah, but they are talked about like that. It's safer than just dropping it at a box. And the person who's in charge of the kind of the baby box movement, points out that the child was legally, safely, anonymously, and lovingly placed inside this safe haven baby box, and that speaks volumes about the parent.
It certainly does, because I tell you this: if I'm using a baby box, I'm coming in hot. Okay, it's a fast pitch situation. I might not even open the door. You might just find a baby on the ground and a little like splat next to where the box is. You don't have to stop the car if you're getting rid of your baby. Just launch that fucker.
Well, that's not how it works.
Get it towards the box.
We saw the picture. If we can see it again, it's more like a handle that opens, and then you put the baby inside, and the box is actually, I think, on the other side of the wall inside the building. It's kind of like an Aaron Rodgers meal situation there, except dropping off your baby.
Imagine Aaron Rodgers just being so fucking DDT'd out on that he eats a whole baby that someone dropped off. That would be perfect. Guys, I'm going to play another year with just baby dripping down his chin.
It's like a classic baby box isolation retreat mix-up movie idea.
How has this not been a prank? How has no teenager gotten a baby doll, gotten a fucking Cabbage Patch Kid and chucked it in?
Because that you can get in trouble for, and there are cameras and everything. This is legal. I mean, they're saying throwing it as you're in a moving car, you're not getting in the baby box. But if you come in, you open the box, it's safe within 90 seconds, and it's baby proof because you can't put your toddler in there; it wouldn't fit.
Guys, if you're listening, just get an abortion like a normal person with money.
Shit.
Last headline.
We went 5 deep this week. I couldn't decide. I had a bunch. I had even more than this, but I was like, no, we were trying to do 4. We're trying to keep the podcast shorter, but there were too many. And I was like, Greg, you cut one. He couldn't do it.
I should have, in hindsight.
How long are we right now?
We're at 114.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be the same.
We're good. As we get older, one question comes up a lot. When does keeping it real go wrong? When is honesty not the best policy? I've thought about this for real.
On a first date, and a job interview.
Okay, this was a job interview that we're going to talk about. It's an Arizona man who was interviewing for a job with the police, and took a lie detector test. And one of the questions was, do you possess child pornography? And he found out the hard way, there's some facts it's better to keep to yourself.
It was that easy. It was a written test. It wasn't like they were talking to him and it just like came out.
No, he was like, it sounded like, got to get the job. Polygraph test is part of the whole procedure, and it's just one of the standard questions. Do you possess child pornography? And I guess he thought because it was a polygraph test, he's like, I guess I better be honest. And he said, yes. And and then they searched his home and found child porn on his flash drives, and he's going to go to jail.
I haven't read the article. Did he get the job?
No, he's going to jail. I think it's safe to say he's out of the running.
This is why I'm always surprised when people don't respect the police more. You know, when people get upset at the police, because when you got these kind of people trying to become police, you know it's going to be good. Yes, they caught this guy. I remember in my hometown where I grew up, there was I was friends with the son of the head of the police department, and he told us a story that there was a guy who sued them. Took them to court because he applied to become a cop and they rejected him, and he said it was racism, and they went in and then they just took the letter. The cops took the letter that he had written them, like applying, and just circled all the misspelled words. Like, you got rejected because you couldn't pass the test. There were like two people, a woman who couldn't do the physical stuff and a guy who couldn't pass the mental stuff, and he sued them over it. She was like, all right, cool, I'm not a cop. He sued them, and they were just like, this is how dumb you are. And they threw it out immediately. And I think a lot of people at the end of their rope, it's like, when your life is shit, you try stand-up comedy, and if that doesn't work out, you try to become a cop.
He was 25 years old, yeah, and it was for like an assistant job, so that's...
A cop assistant?
Yeah, police assistant. And I think you're working the desk and stuff. You're not like you don't have to go to cop
You're like
school.
you're like doing traffic. You don't get a gun, but you do traffic. So you
I don't really know. But I mean, I hate to think this is funny, but it sounds like he tried to soften the blow. It wasn't exactly like yes or no. He said, like, you know, do you possess child pornography? He's like, well, no, but you know, I do go to like a website where underage girls, you know, send me sexually explicit videos. So I don't know if that counts. And they're like, yeah, that counts.
Yeah.
And then they found way worse.
Yeah, they always find way worse. I wonder how many cops, Aaron, what percentage of cops do you think are in possession of child porn for personal use? 40%? 40%.
I mean, in the high 30s, sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's what Aaron thinks. And now it's time for...
Choo-choo.
I was like, we probably could have lost the child porn story.
Yeah, no, in retrospect, when we started talking about it, I was like, yeah, that could have gone.
Or
and
the
no one
lawyer,
would've
maybe.
complained.
The lawyer.
I like the lawyer.
The lawyer was good.
He brought his gun into an MRI machine.
Yeah,
that's dumb.
That joke.
He told him he didn't have a gun. He had a gun. He died. The child porn one, we're going to have child porn next week. No one would have been like, guys, love the episode. Why didn't you talk about child porn for way too long? And then talk about police, which is not a hot button topic at all.
I'm going to recommend a album. So at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, I start going through all the best of lists. And it's taken me a while to actually go through it music-wise, just listen to some new stuff. But the one artist that I found this year that has stuck the most from that was on a lot of these lists was by Grace Ives is the name of the artist. The album is called Janky Star.
Is she the one? Did she just win a Grammy?
Did she? I don't even know.
Is she like a jazz singer?
No.
No.
She's like a pop singer. None of the songs are like longer than 2.5 minutes. It kind of bounces around between sometimes it's a little synthy, sometimes it's like alterna, sometimes it's kind of like more of a rocker, but it's definitely very pop. But she's just like fucking awesome, and it stuck with me. If you like women music by young women that happen to be lesbians, here Grace is like the pop version of that. I don't know why I like it so much, but it's really good. Like On the Ground is kind of a good alterna song. Loose, Shelly, In LA, Lullaby, and the songs go by so quick, and they all are totally different. I went back and listened to a couple of her older albums too, and she kind of strikes me as a genius. Very quick listen. Janky Star by Grace Ives. I'm a big fan.
Sounds like child porn for your ears.
She's like in her 20s. Relax.
I believe she was nominated for Best New Artist and did not win.
Okay.
At the Grammys, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. My recommendation this week is once again a book. It's brand new. Came out a week or two ago. This is one of my favorite genres of fiction. Is L.A. noir. L.A. crime noir. This is called Everybody Knows by Jordan Harper. It follows like a fixer, like in the PR world, who like tries to, when like something bad happens to powerful people, they go to the media and they try to like twist the story to give the best result for the bad guys, basically. And then shit goes wrong. And it's like, it's so modern that they're dealing with like influencers, they're dealing with like TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. And it's just like fascinating. And I love a hard boiled, very cynical look at Los Angeles. That like they're telling stories in this thing, that they're fictional characters, but I could pick out the actual real world counterpart. That it was a very shitty look at LA, like a why do we live here situation. But I loved it. Hard boiled, violent, cool read. Good read. Everybody Knows by Jordan Harper. And that was
Choo-choo.
Recommendation Station. Walker, do your thing.
Whoa, Nelly Furtado, that's a spicy meatball.